Morning, folks. Woke up this morning and I thought to myself, you know what? One of the other things is that I didn't cover in one of my matches is barter items to keep until you are level 10. So barter items that are well worth looking out for until you're level 10 in Tarkov, because at level 10, like everybody knows, you get access to the flea market. So, as Pestily always says, let's crack straight in. So we go into our character here, and I just came out of a raid, so excuse my mess. But we go to the dealers, and we start at Propor. And let's see what Propor has that's actually well worth keeping. The interface has been exceptionally slow this morning. All right, so standings, you're probably going to have one, maybe level 2 standings until you're 10, but we'll just keep it 1. So one of the first things I would look out for is this, the PP19. Brilliant little submachine game, early game, and only 4 T-plugs. T-plugs you find filing cabinets, toolboxes, etc. Super easy barter, and it's a really solid submachine gun. And then I sort of Propor the... Oh, and if you spend 10,000 rubles, you can get the Cobra Red Dot. Fits on it. Problem solved, and he's got 30 round magazines, which are only 2,600 rubles, and very good early game weapon. Then the other thing, and you will find them on interchange in Oli or Oli, however you want to pronounce it. Propane Tanks. Propane Tanks you can swap for a 6B23-1 armor, and it's a class 3 armor with 60 hit points. Early game, really good armor. And this is only up till 10. From 10 on, you pick up Propane Tanks, sell them on the flea market. People need them for, I think, Red Rebel to swap at Jaeger. But until you've got access to the flea market, Propane Tank, front of Oli, go in as a scav, grab a propane tank or 2, get out, and you've got 2 good armors on your PMC. Okay, let's move up. Therapist. So Therapist also gives you some of the first missions in the game, but a couple of things well worth looking for. Toolboxes, screws. I still pick these up. They're actually almost worthless, but you swap them for hemostat. Hemostat stops heavy bleeds. If you can find, duct tape. Duct tape you'll find almost in every toolbox, and you can swap it for the car first aid kit. Car first aid kit is actually very good early game because it can stop light bleeds for 50 HP. So you go into a raid with a car and a hemostat, which you've swapped for literally almost worthless items, and you can stop a heavy and a light bleed. The rest of the stuff you can buy if you're lucky enough, and you don't find these too often, is the paid, and then you can actually swap it for a Salewa, or you can just craft your own Salewas. Early game, really dependent on the duct tape swaps and the screw swaps. And like I said, I still pick these screws up, and it's a habit that started when you get higher standings, when you get flea market. Obviously, this kind of falls away. Skier, it's not a lot that I can remember at Skier at level 1. But let's go. Skier, level 1, no. There wasn't anything here really worth swapping. The MP153, you're going to find a ton of MP153s on scavs or coming in as a scav. Again, finding cats as a early game player, maybe in a stash or 2, then you can swap 1 cat and 1 pom-pom, which is easy to find, for the Zuk Armor. The Zuk Armor is, again, armor class 3 and 50 points. It is a very underrated armor. It's just, as a new player, you're going to be very lucky if you find a cat. Anything else here to swap? Nothing that catches my attention. Peacekeeper at level 1. He's got all the NATO stuff. Couple of things to swap that you can keep in mind. Colt M4A1, in other words, the full auto M4. he will swap it for 3 CPUs and 3 CPU fans. So if you do the idea OLI and power station run in interchange, then you should have enough CPUs. Whether you want to use it is really up to you. I didn't particularly use it very often. If you want to step up from the PP19, this is probably a better swap. It's an MP5 for 8 of those knives that you find on the scavs, and if you kill scavs, check the knives. Super easy thing, and the MP5 is super solid. The MP7, the MPX, yeah, unless you're a hardcore PvPer, etc., you're gonna struggle to get all those dog tags needed. The one thing I did use quite often was the day pack swap. If you want to go in light for a raid, 1 hard drive, 1 DVD drive. Again, if you do the idea power station OLI computers, I think there's 15 or something plus computers that you can check. You'll have more of these than you know what to do with, and they are easy to use, and then you can go in with a decent backpack into a raid. So I used a lot of these backpack swaps at Peacekeeper. Mechanic at level 1 until you've got access to the flea market. Let's have a look. All right, so I did try this one. This is the UMP45, and I didn't like it. The group is all over the place. 2 caps, a hard drive, and a DVD. So just 2 caps extra from that other swap that I just showed you at Peacekeeper. Not worth it in my opinion. This one, you buy them cheaper than it is if you find green gunpowders and thermites. Yeah, the ammo case early game can help you save a lot of space, but thermite and green gunpowder is super expensive, and not sure if it's worth it. There is a couple other guns. So he's got this full pimp PP19. I wouldn't swap the roller. You're gonna need the roller if you find it, and I think I found 2 or 3 in 600 plus raids. It depends on where you look. I've looked at safes and stuff on shoreline, some of the rooms. If you find it, keep it rather. It's got an MP33 tactical, which can be a good shotgun, 2 elite pliers and a elite screwdriver. But again, you're gonna pick up so many shotguns from scavs. You're not gonna worry about having to actually swap it. You're gonna have more than enough in your inventory. If you do pick it up, it might be, depending on if you do night runs, this might be a good early one. Is the Vulcan MG Night Scope. It's a 3.5. Swap it for a drill and a G-Phone. You'll find the drills all over the shelves at the back of Idea, Goshen, on the shelves in Power Station and Interchange, as well as many other maps, Reserve, etc. Whether it's worth it early game, it's for you to decide. I did use the Vulcan quite extensively early game until I got to level 10 for night runs in Interchange. And that's pretty much it for mechanic. So Ragman. Ragman, one of the things I used early game was the masks. Collect 3 of these masks from the scavs that you pick up, and you can swap it for a Pocket Armor. Now do remember, Pocket Armor will basically stop wet paper from hurting you, and that's about it. The Propane Tank swap is a much better one, but if you just want to, like I had to do some of the tasks, and you just want to do almost run-throughs, just get in there with a pistol, go and get the golden Zibbo or whatever it is in dorms in customs, and get out, and you just want to, if a scav shoots at you and ricochets, it's a decent enough armor to use for it until you've got access to, say for example, the Zuk 3 press armor or so on. Level 1, you're not going to find the Jetta helmet very often. You will find the Wartech Recruit backpack on scavs enough that you don't have to worry about this swap. Later on, there is a swap which is very well worth it. And I just want to check at which one becomes available. At level 2, so once you've got Ragman up to 2, and Ragman's one of the easy ones, he's got super easy missions. Your Camelback Tri-Zip for 4 ES lamps. I actually used this one yesterday. I went into reserve, and if you didn't catch it, I was live on Twitch. Twitch TV /FailCon XX, and I was running reserve, and I just wanted to grab a big enough backpack, and I quickly used. And as you can see, I've still got enough ES lamps that I can use it. You will see quite a few PMCs dead. If you just see them dead and they haven't been looted with these backpacks, and this is why. These ES lamps you will find everywhere at level 2. This is a huge backpack and phenomenally good value. The Attack 2 backpack is a Sugar, 2 Sorries, and 3 Slickers. Sugar retails at 70k type effect. If you pick up Sugar, I would hold on to it until you've got flea market. I think the Tri-Zip is a much better deal for it. That is literally about it. I wouldn't bother with a Nappy Armor because you got to put in a couple of other broken Nappy Armors, broken 6B5s, soaps and toilet papers. And honestly, I think the Propane Tank is a better swap for these. These are armored rigs though, but I wouldn't bother with it until you're level 10 and you can actually buy armors off the market. This is a super expensive, well, not a super expensive one, but the golden TT I think you get from Rashala on customs, and up to tier 10, unless you're being helped by a group, you're not going to be able to get those. You can't buy them anyway because you don't have access to the flea market. BNTI, the BNTI Kirasa in armor, shit, I would rather use the other one. It is a tier 3 with 70 hit points, but again, coffee, a cola, and a milk. Unless you're doing woods food runs, then this might be a decent enough swap for you. Again, I would rather go scav into Oli. It's much easier. Scav into Oli, get 1 or 2 propane tanks, and get the other one. And that's pretty much my recommendation here for Ragman until you are level 10. Jaeger takes a little bit of time to unlock. I think you'll unlock him at about level 3 or 4, so he doesn't give you that much time until you're level 10. And I never really swapped much at Jaeger. The one thing I would save up and buy from Jaeger when you're level 1 is a compass. It can help you navigate where you are on maps if you have no idea what you're doing. Otherwise, there was nothing here that I would bother. By the time you've got access to the flea market, you can buy fuel there. I would, if you're not running a lot of hideout time, or you don't have a Bitcoin farm going that you don't need to run it 24/7, this fuel swap might be worth it. 5 matches and 12 matches there. Again, very own choice. By the time you get to level 10, you're going to be making enough money that you can just buy fuel, or if you hit enough stashes, you'll get enough fuel. I rarely run out of fuel. On the right there's an empty tank, and there is one because I literally just filled up yesterday with some tanks. Let me actually show you my hideout quickly. This late in wipe, not with it actually getting the Bitcoin farm up to level 50, so I've got a level 2 Bitcoin farm of 25 things. Here's the generator, and as you can see, mine's full all the time. I pick up fuel. I've never had any of these slots empty. I don't know, I'm probably lucky, and hence I'm not a big fan of that fuel swap, but it is something to look out for at the dealers. Then of course, fence is difficult because you got to sit and refresh if you want something, and most of it is used, so or it's expensive, or it's broken down components, unless you want something specifically from fence. And he doesn't do any barter trades that I'm aware of. You just have to straight up buy a bunch of these weapons. So fence, no, we're not too bothered with fence. So that is it for the dealers. Until you get to level 10 and you can actually get access to the flea market, those are the barter items that I would recommend you look out for and keep and swap, and that should keep you healthy and raiding until you are level 10 and you've got the flea market. So that is it. I hope you found it useful, and I wish you all the luck in Tarkov. It's a harsh game, but I really wish I knew those barter items and I learned them early on. My life would have been so much easier in the game. Anyway, everybody, tell somebody you love them, tell somebody you care. Take care. Cheers.